Today, I will take you back to the time of a worker in the Egyptian pyramids, thousands of years ago, to that silent era where time flowed slowly, and even the wind moved the sands with gentle grace, to the days when the sky's blue was deeper and the sound of the Nile was calmer. And now, step by step, breath by breath, you will proceed into this story. Take a deep breath and let your body soften, because this journey will proceed slowly, gently, and with great peace, without any rush. The first light of morning. The day had not yet dawned. Everything was under the soft blanket of a velvet darkness. A thin coolness lay over the desert. The faint wind wandering between the sands touched the stones, which had cooled overnight, making gentle murmurs like a silent breath. This murmur was the sound of the world breathing, rhythmic, constant, and reassuring. Kheper, a young but experienced worker known for his silence among the pyramid masters. That morning, too, he opened his eyes slowly. His eyelids felt as if fine, warm sand had been poured over them, heavy and soft. He did not rush to open his eyes, but simply waited for the light to seep in. The woven reeds on the ceiling of his hut held back the first dim light of morning. This light filtering in was like a thin veil, only asserting its presence, but illuminating nothing. The shadows were long and languid.
The coolness from outside seemed to have seeped in. The air carried the faint, earthy scent of dried Nile mud and old straw matting. This scent meant he was safe. Kheper took a long breath before sitting up. His chest expanded. This breath reached the deepest corners of his lungs. It was as if the calm current of the Nile River flowed within his body, cleansing and refreshing everything. Then he slowly exhaled. His exhale was so slow that it was as silent as a grain of sand falling to the ground. With this breath, he released all the small tensions that had accumulated overnight. His mind did not yet feel the day's heaviness. All thoughts had drifted away with the desert wind during the night. What remained was only an empty, soothing space, a mind as still as a lake's surface. Everything proceeded in the same tone as the morning silence. He sat like that for a while. His back was straight, his shoulders completely relaxed. There was no tension, no feeling of constriction in his body, just the bare tranquility of existence. Nothing was moving in his hut. Only the sound of the desert wind, almost a whisper, came from outside. This sound was like a distant lullaby, reminding him that the chaos of the outside world remained outside the door of his hut. He was in a safe haven. Finally, he rose. The soles of his feet felt the coolness of the earth. This coolness spread upward from his feet like a wave of momentary refreshment, inviting wakefulness.
He put on his simple garment. The soft touch of the cotton fabric left a gentle whisper on his skin. As each layer slowly enveloped his body, it invited Kheper's body to relax. He placed his hand on the door latch. The latch still held the coldness of the night, a bracing chill that lightly clung to his hand, as if cooling his hand before he touched it. When he opened the door, the first lines of dawn were leaving a thin golden trace on the horizon. The desert, it was not just vast and empty, it was also peaceful. This peace came from the silence of the stones and sands that had remained unchanged for thousands of years. It was the peace of timelessness. The shadows appearing on the sands stretched out in long, thin lines. The shadows were so long that even Kheper's reflection seemed slowed down and elongated. Everything was like the drawn-out images of a dream. Everything felt like a ritual performed by nature itself. The sunrise, the sound of the wind, all were part of a grand, unhurried cycle. Kheper took another deep breath. The air was cool. The cool air filling his lungs was soothing, like the sound of a waterfall. With this clean air, all burdens were released. His shoulders softened a little more. It smelled like newly awakened earth. The moisture of the Nile could be sensed even from afar. Within the smell of the earth, there was that light, fresh breeze of life-giving water, a promise of renewal. He would work alone today. The other workers had been assigned to flatten another area. The task of maintaining and smoothing the stones on the northern face of the pyramid was left to him. This did not bother him at all. On the contrary, solitude was a gift to Kheper. The hasty steps and noisy conversations of others could not prevent him from slowing down. On the contrary, he seemed to get along better with the stones when he was alone. To listen to the silence of the stones was to find the deepest silence within himself, the harmony of two silent beings.
The walk towards the pyramid's shadow. Kheper walked out of his hut with slow steps. His steps were slow, yet determined. Not rushing was part of his craft. The sand made a soft sound beneath his feet. The sound produced was just a whisper. Ft, ft, ft. This sound was the world's most basic and slowest rhythm, setting the pace of his walk. With every step, fine, dusty grains of sand gently rose into the air, then slowly settled back down. Their rising was gentle, their descent heavy. It was as if time adapted itself to the speed of that fine grain of sand. The sand taught Kheper slowness. The sky was no longer gray-blue. It was turning into blue mixed with golden yellow. The colors in the sky were changing slowly, each shift in color happening as slowly as the duration of a single breath. The purples melted, the yellows gently emerged. The sun was rising a little more every second, but its heat was not yet scorching the desert. The sunlight touching Kheper's face was as light as a feather, only warming but not burning, a slight tingling sensation on his skin. When he lifted his eyes, the pyramid rose like a giant silence. He took a breath and felt small yet utterly peaceful against the majesty of the colossal pyramid. Hundreds of stone blocks, each one carved with human breath, labor, sweat, and history. In each of these stones, Kheper sensed the slow breath, patience, and dedication of thousands of people. He was also part of this silence. Kheper saw this sight every morning,
And every time, the same sentence passed through his mind. Everyone who touches these stones slows down time a little more. To him, the pyramid was a temple built against time, a structure where speed and haste could not enter, where everything was accepted as it was, a lesson in slowing down. When he reached the shadow of the pyramid, he felt a delicate balance between hot and cold. One side of his body carried the new warmth of the day, while the other side held the night's coolness from the 1,000-year-old stone. This balance stood right in the middle, in the present moment. The sun struck one side, and the cold surface of the stone stood on the other. Walking between these contrasts was a kind of meditation for him. Transitioning step by step from warmth to coolness, from light to shadow, allowed all the contrasts in his mind to slowly balance out. As he climbed the step-like blocks lined up side by side, the edge of each step harbored the morning coolness. When he gently wiped away the dust on the surface of the stones with his fingers, the colder, smoother part beneath the stone was revealed. When he touched them with his feet, the stones felt as if they were gently trembling. This tremor felt like a sign that the mineral crystals inside the stone were releasing the night's coldness, as if the stone was gently greeting his step. Perhaps it was only Kheper's imagination, but this feeling was good for him. With every ascent, one more step, one more breath, he left behind the rush of the entire day. In that moment, there were only stone and breath. As he ascended, his mind became lighter.
The silent rhythm of the lone master. Kheper arrived in front of the block he would work on. This area was on the northern face. Even the midday sun could only reach it at a slight angle. This was the cool heart of the pyramid, a well of tranquility. This stone was more newly processed than the others. It had not yet achieved perfect smoothness. On its surface, there were fine lines left by the final touches of the previous craftsman who had carved it. They were small signatures of patience. The sun shone on it, and the minerals inside the stone glittered like tiny bright spots. These glimmers were the small reflections of the stone's energy spanning thousands of years, as if the stone was reflecting its own light. He placed his tools beside him, a bronze chisel. The tip of the chisel was made with elements from the soil of the Nile. It was cold and durable. The bronze left a slightly clinging sensation when touched. A light hammer with a wooden handle. The hammer handle had taken the shape of Kheper's palm, as if it had become one piece with his hands. The warmth and softness of the wood balanced the coldness of the bronze. And a small brush to clean the stone surface. This brush was a soft bundle of palm fibers. It gently swept away even the tiniest speck of dust. The brush's fibers were soft like cloth, but he did not start working immediately. As always, he first ran his hand over the stone, as if speaking to it. He rested his palm on the wide surface of the stone. This contact was like the handshake of two old friends, silent, profound, and meaningful. The stone's coldness met the warmth of his palm. The stone's surface was cold. The sun had not yet warmed it. He felt the surface with his fingertips. Smooth sections, slight protrusions. These protrusions were the burdens the stone needed to release. Kheper's job was to gently remove these burdens, allowing the stone to find complete peace, just like letting go of the excess in the mind. The stone had its own character. The veins in shades of gray and pink were like rivers running through the stone. Each vein whispered a different time period, a different story. Kheper got to know this character more each day, just as he knew his own breath. Then, taking a calm breath, he began his work. He took a breath, tap. He let out a breath, tap. Only the rhythm, tap. The hammer struck the bronze, and the bronze lightly smoothed the stone. The sound was not deep. The sound was as low as the ticking of a slow-moving clock. Tap, tap. It did not echo. It just faded away, absorbed by the stone. It was not harsh on the ears. On the contrary,
it was rhythmic and had a tone that invited sleep, a steady and secure sound that calmed the listener's mind. This sound is the world's oldest lullaby. After each strike, a small cloud of dust spread over the stone, lingering in the air for a short while. The dust particles shimmered in the angles where the sunlight filtered through, then slowly settling to the ground. This dust was all the day's fatigue and haste. It danced in the air and then descended, leaving a lasting peace. Every falling speck of dust took a thought with it. Kheper would sometimes stop working and just watch the dance of this dust. Fine, slow, delicate, as if time was keeping pace with the speed of the dust particle. This dance was a momentary lifetime. It slowly rose and slowly disappeared. Kheper inhaled this slowness. It was good to be alone. No instructions from anyone, no one rushing. Even the air in the shadow of the pyramid was heavier, more still. This air carried 1,000 years of sleep. Stillness itself was a power. As Kheper worked, his mind also slowed down. Thoughts lightened one by one. Every incoming thought was like a drop of water. It came, slowly spread, and disappeared. His mind was like an empty bowl. With every breath, a thought vanished. A new silence arrived. The silence was a cumulative feeling of peace, a growing, deepening tranquility. Being alone in the desert gave him the opportunity to listen to his inner voice. This inner voice was also calm, deep, soothing. This voice simply said, "I am here now. Everything is all right." Nothing else mattered.
As the sun rose, time passed. In reality, time was not passing. Only the angle of the light was changing. The sun slowly rose and began to warm the desert. But the shadow of the pyramid was still cool. The northern face was like a shield against the noise of the warming world. Kheper sat on the stone and took a short break. He released all the weight spreading down from his shoulders. The coolness of the stone he sat on gently caressed his back. He placed his palms on the sands. The sand had begun to warm up now. The warm sand radiated a soft, relaxing heat that slowly penetrated his hands. This warmth slowly rose from his hands to his arms. Its touch was just like a warm blanket. Kheper pressed his palms slightly more into the sand, feeling this warmth deeply. He looked up at the sky. The blue was deepening with every passing minute. The blue was so pure that his gaze extended into infinity. His eyes slowly relaxed, letting go of their focus. No clouds were visible. Everything was still. Time had stopped. Even the wind seemed to be taking a break. He took a deep breath. The breath descended to the depths of his belly. His abdomen slowly expanded towards the sands. His chest filled. Then, as he let out his breath, he felt as if another weight had left his body. His exhale lengthened, releasing all his muscles. Such moments were very important to him. A small pause within the day, a small silence, a small peace. This peace enveloped Kheper's entire being. It was as if the 1,000-year-old stone was gifting him its own silence. The stones of the pyramid seemed to preserve this silence, as if every block carried the hush of centuries in its chest. The stones whispered rest to him.
Midday, inside the shadow. As the sun neared its peak, the desert heat intensified. The outside heat was felt like a tremor, but the shadow of the pyramid was a refuge. But the air in the shadow of the pyramid was still comfortable. The air remaining in the shadow was like a cool blanket. Kheper sat on a long stone at the edge of the pyramid. He rested his back completely against the stone. The cool, smooth surface of the stone absorbed the fatigue of his body. He stretched out his legs. He leaned his back against the cool surface of the stone. He closed his eyes. He felt the light slowly fade. The outside world disappeared. He just started listening. The faint hum that the wind created on the desert surface. This hum was an eternal shh sound. Distant, almost inaudible bird sounds. Small, sweet sounds quickly fading away. The breath of emptiness echoing inside the pyramid. A deep, well-like sound of silence. Every sound mixed together and created a single harmony.
And in Kheper's mind, it created a peaceful, sleep-like tone. This soundscape gently pulled him down. For a moment, he thought even the stones were breathing. The stones slowly warmed up and slowly cooled down. This was their breath. As if every block carried a memory, spreading the silence of centuries into Kheper's body. The coolness of the stone spread down his spine. His shoulders relaxed. His neck softened. The sand beneath his feet was a comforting warmth from the sun. This warmth entering from the soles of his feet melted even the smallest tension in his leg muscles. His body relaxed. His hands rested loosely by the stone. His fingers were slightly curled. His shoulders softened. His mind began to feel heavy. His mind was slowly sinking, like a feather dropped into water. His eyelids wanted to close. And so he closed them. For a little while, Kheper remained in that sweet interval between sleep and wakefulness. He did not sleep, but he entered a state of sweet relaxation, very close to sleep. Thoughts slowed down and lost their shape before turning into dreams. Only feelings remained, the feeling of peace and safety. The wind gently touched his face, as if telling him, rest. The wind's touch was like the caress of a mother's gentle hand. The pyramid's shadow also enveloped him like a blanket. Time. It was barely flowing now. There was only breath, slow and deep.
Afternoon work. When Kheper opened his eyes again, the sun had shifted slightly westward. He opened his eyes slowly, without forcing them. The light was softer now. The shadow had lengthened. The shadow's length had increased, becoming like a carpet spread over the desert. The air had cooled down a bit. The most intense part of the midday heat had passed. The air was sweeter. He stood up again. His body was filled with a fresh energy gifted by the rest. He did not rush. He gently stretched his muscles. He took his tools. He moved to the stone. He placed the tip of the chisel against the stone. The cold tip of the bronze met the slight roughness on the stone surface. He struck it lightly with the hammer. Tap, tap, tap. This time, the sound was more resonant. It was fuller and more profound, as if the stone, having rested, now responded better. It was deeper.
As if the stone had also absorbed the day's fatigue. As he worked, the light reflected from the top of the pyramid formed thin lines on the stone. These lines marked the points where Kheper needed to work. The light guided him. Kheper felt hypnotized as he followed these lines of light. His eyes were focused on the point where he struck. Focusing was another way of relaxing. Time flowed slowly again. Minutes blurred into one another. It became impossible to tell how long he had worked. There was only rhythm. Past and future were lost. Kheper focused only on the rhythm. Tap, breath, tap, breath. Every strike was like a breath. The strike was an act of emptying.
Every breath was a strike. The strike was the refilling of new energy. This rhythm was like a soft melody that prepared his mind for sleep. All the muscles in his body began to relax. His arms and shoulders became more comfortable as they moved. The burden melted within the movement. There was no fatigue, only calmness. This calmness stood at the center of Kheper's being.
Sunset and the return home. As the sun began to set, the sky was covered in orange, purple, and pink colors. The sky reflected all the peace of the day with its colors. These colors slowly deepened. These colors poured over the desert. The grains of sand shimmered. Each grain of sand briefly sparkled like a tiny star. The world was covered in a soft glow. Kheper gathered his tools. He placed his tools gently, as if they were works of art. The bronze was warmer now. He touched the stone one last time. He ran his fingers over the stone's smoothed surface. His task was complete. The stone was now at peace. He had completed his task for the day. He descended the steps with slow steps. He was descending with a relaxation that was the opposite of the effort he gave climbing up. Gravity was helping him.
The sands were cooler now. The feeling beneath his feet washed away all the day's fatigue. The coolness was a relaxing wave that spread upward from the soles of his feet. When he emerged from the pyramid's shadow, the silhouette of the massive structure stretched into the sky. This sight was the most peaceful moment of the day. The pyramid now stood like a guardian, dark, silent, and constant. Kheper walked toward his hut. With every step, the wind softened a little more. The coolness of the night increased a little more. The air added a caressing coolness to his skin. It was slowly preparing his body for sleep.
Night, silence in the lamp's light, and deepening. When he entered his hut, darkness had begun to settle. He lit the lamp. The flame at the wick's tip slowly glowed. The warmth of the fire gently broke the coolness inside the small hut. The flames slowly danced, casting peaceful shadows on the walls. The shadows were flickering and soft. There was no sharpness, only flow. Kheper lay down on his bed. The scent of cotton fibers, a soft and clean smell, the warmth of the fresh sand, the light heat remaining from the day seeped up from beneath the bed, the coolness of the pyramid's shadow, all came together. All his senses were preparing for a peaceful rest.
His eyelids slowly grew heavy. The last lights of the outside world also faded. He took a deep breath. This was the last and deepest breath of the day. Today was good. Everything went calmly. Tomorrow will be the same. These words were not a prayer, but an acceptance, a belief that tomorrow would be as peaceful as this moment. His mind returned to the silence of the pyramid, to the soft sound of the wind, a distant whisper, to the heavy breath of the stones, the enduring silence of centuries.
Complete surrender and sliding into deep sleep. Kheper surrendered his back to the soft matting. Each vertebra in his back relaxed one by one. He surrendered all his weight to the earth. He left his arms and legs loose. His feet were free, his knees soft. Even the slightest tension in his leg muscles dissolved and blended into the warmth of the sand. Now his mind was completely empty. The last incoming thought was like a shining grain of sand. Kheper looked at it, watched it, and then allowed the grain of sand to slowly disappear. This moment was only the act of breathing. The only thing left was the slow and rhythmic movement of his body. Your breath is slowing down, deepening.
It is as if you have boarded a boat and the current is slowly carrying you away. You are in no rush to go anywhere. Your eyelids are so heavy that it is impossible to open them. The sounds in your ears recede, becoming even softer. Only your own internal flow remains, just like that slow rhythm in the shadow of the pyramid. Tap, breath, tap, breath. Now even the sound of the hammer has turned into a lullaby, so soft it whispers to the deepest part of your mind. Your body is completely safe. This hut is a sanctuary built in the silence of millennia. Nothing can disturb you. The softness beneath your back, the darkness behind your eyelids, that deepest, calmest breath filling your lungs.
Now, as Kheper drifts into sleep, you also release all your weight. Surrender yourself to this peaceful, velvet darkness. Let the silence of the desert envelop you. Let the centuries-old sleep of the pyramid become your sleep too. Just breathe, just be, and slowly, very slowly, glide into a deep sleep. Peace be with you. Good night.